This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines.
What the hell is going on?
Outcry continues over GOP candidate Donald Trump's Muslim ban. China's capital shuts down as dangerous pollution settles over the city. And
trying to pick up blocks, and he lost the football!
Redskins fumble their chances and Cowboys stay in the race.
Hello and welcome to Matador News. I'm Daisy Lightfoot.
And I'm Anna Logan.
Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump says he simply doesn't care that his day-old Muslim travel ban is not politically correct.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
Trump's statements come after he called for a ban on all Muslims traveling into the U.S. after the suspected ISIS-inspired killings in San Bernardino. Many of Trump's supporters seem to agree that not allowing Muslims into the country would be for the best, at least until political leaders can determine the motives of the desire to travel here. Other candidates and politicians have expressed concern and disdain for Trump's statements, calling them fascist and disrespectful. Trump recently called for the surveillance of mosques and wanted to establish a database for all Muslims living in the country. Trump's campaign manager said the ban would not only apply to Muslim foreigners looking to immigrate to the U.S., but also to Muslim tourists just looking to visit.
Now let's go to Leo Ibarra with CSUN reactions on Trump's Muslim ban.
Donald Trump's latest remarks is getting some strong reaction from Sam Matadors.
How do you feel about Donald Trump wanting to ban Muslims from the United States because of all the terrorist attacks that have been going on?
I feel like personally he can't generalize all of them because I do have friends who are of Muslim religion and they're the nicest people I know.
I feel like you can't blame a certain religion for the wrongs it does because a lot of people have killed in the name of Christianity, and in like when they took over America, it was in the name of Christianity. So you can't blame a religion for the wrongdoings.
What he's saying is like, if one person is bad, then the whole group is bad. Which if somebody's type of like thought process is that, then they're obviously a bad person who's just into stereotyping people rather than seeing the huge issue.
Political figures have something to say about it too on social media. Let's take a look at what was tweeted. Hillary Clinton says she is reprehensible, prejudiced, and divisive. Donald Trump, you don't get it. This makes us less safe. While Jeb Bush tweeted, Donald Trump is unhinged, his policy proposals are not serious. And Lindsey Graham says, every candidate for president needs to do the right thing and condemn Donald Trump's statements. That's it for me here in the newsroom. Now let's go back to Anna in the studio.
Thanks, Leo. Yemen's president has asked the Saudi Arabian-backed Houthi rebels to begin a 7-day ceasefire beginning a week from today. Since the war in Yemen began, almost 6,000 people have been killed and 1.5 million people have been displaced. President Abd Raoub Mansour Hadi says the proposed truce will coincide with UN-sponsored peace talks aimed to end months of fighting in Yemen. And in Saudi Arabia today, the groups trying to overthrow Syrian President Bashar al-Assad are meeting. The Riyadh meetings offer the prospect of forging a more united opposition, better able to negotiate with the Assad government. The rebellion against Assad began almost 5 years ago and has killed tens of thousands and displaced hundreds of thousands.
Schools and construction sites close in Beijing after the first ever red alert for pollution is issued. The U.S. Embassy in Beijing says the air quality index was at 250 Tuesday morning. That number is considered 10 times higher than recommended by the World Health Organization. The Chinese government is also limiting residents' car use. Odd-numbered license plates, vehicles are not allowed to be on the road the same time as even-numbered. Some residents are questioning why this alert was not issued before. The alert is going to be in force until Thursday noon. China officials say they are aiming to cut greenhouse emissions in half by 2030.
Congress is trying to negotiate a massive budget. If left unresolved, could cause the government to shut down on December 11th. White House Press Secretary John Earnest says shutting down the government is not a viable option.
Congress needs to pass a budget on time. Shutting down the government is not going to enhance our national security. There are also some Republicans who are suggesting that they may need some additional time and therefore would pass a continuing resolution to fund the government at current levels.
Congressional Republicans are pressing for an end to the 4-decade ban on exporting crude oil. While the GOP is seeking concessions from the Obama administration and Democrats on the environment, Republicans have dropped demands to cut off federal funds for Planned Parenthood. The deadline to reach an agreement is Friday at midnight.
Officials are still trying to figure out if the married couple from San Bernardino shootings was helped to commit the act. Investigators say the woman attacker was radicalized well before she came to the United States with her fiancé. They are working on determining if the couple took direct orders from ISIS leaders. Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office says terrorists oftentimes get their inspiration from the internet. The couple's attempt to destroy their electronics is making investigations challenging. Officials say there is still a lot of electronic media to review.
The Los Angeles Police Department in Compton have found the woman who buried alive her newborn baby 2 weeks ago. Sheriff Deputy Adam Collette identifies the woman.
Detectives were able to identify the mother as 33-year-old Porsche LaRonda Washington.
Washington is arrested on a $500,000 warrant for attempted murder and child endangerment. Deputies responded to reports of a crying baby near a riverbed. They discovered the baby a foot deep into the ground under pieces of asphalt and rubble. Special victims detectives learned Washington was admitted into a local hospital on November 23rd. Washington and her baby were released 3 days later. The following day, the baby was found buried alive. The Department of Child and Family Services will determine who will take custody of the child once she is released from the hospital.
The Los Angeles City Attorney is suing SoCal Gas Company for that gas leak in Porter Ranch. The lawsuit seeks immediate steps to fix the problem and measures to penalize the company. The suit is accusing SoCal of failing to quickly resolve the problem. Health officials say the chemicals released will worsen climate change in LA and could cause lasting health defects. Company officials say the leak will take months to repair, so some Porter Ranch residents have found better living arrangements.
Now let's go to Lisa Choe with the latest in business news.
Thank you, Anna. Gunmaker Smith & Wesson says its stock price rose 5% yesterday. The stock has gone up 113% this year. Stock market analysts say this jump could be due to people fearing a potential ban on guns and wanting more security. In the wake of the shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary, President Obama also attempted to introduce a gun control bill. Investors are betting he might try to reintroduce the bill following last Wednesday's shooting in San Bernardino. Now let's go to Matador News reporter Taylor Nwankwo in the newsroom with students' reaction to the rise in gun sales.
Not only are gun stocks rising, but gun sales are going up as well. Fear is likely one of the main reasons why gun sales have soared. Analysts say that with recent San Bernardino shooting and the Paris attacks, gun sales have increased. Handguns have gone up by 22.5% since November. Some CSUN students say they're surprised by the increase in sales.
Well, I'm from Sweden. No guns allowed there, so I definitely think it's insane that you can have a gun in America.
People should be able to do what they want. I should be able to do what I want. You should be able to do what you want. If that makes them more safe, then they should do it.
It's disturbing to me. It's really disturbing, and I think there should be a stricter policy on how people get guns.
But the increase in gun sales and the recent attacks may have people fearful of going to public places. Some CSUN students say they may let the recent shooting discourage them from going out, but others may not be so scared.
A lot of public places, this is like a public campus. I'm afraid that it could happen here because San Bernardino, it feels like such a random area. And I feel like CSUN is even closer to LA, which is a more populated area. So it's even more terrifying that like it could happen here and it could happen to anyone.
I'm more careful, I guess, in big areas. I kind of look for the escape, which is really bad, I guess. But sadly, that's our reality. Also work with kids, so I kind of think in the back of my head, in case anything were to ever happen, what would be our best plan for everyone's safety.
Personally, I'm not really fearful of going anywhere. I don't think that the actions of others should scare me. I should be able to go wherever I want freely. And yeah, it's unfortunate what happened. I'm really sad that happened to families and they had to experience that. But I'm not going to let them win and scare me into not doing what I want to do with my life.
Some analysts predict within 9 months to a year, gun sales will go up even more. Now back with Lisa Choe in the studio with more business news.
Girl Scout cookie sales have declined overall in the past few years. But with the start of selling cookies online in 2014, figures were a little sweeter than expected. With nearly 160,000 girls using the e-commerce site, customers placed more than 350,000 orders online. The result totaled in about $10 million of treats sold. The Girl Scouts e-commerce initiative, known as Digital Cookie, teaches young girls about business and entrepreneurship. Digital Cookie adds a calculator for girls to keep track of their sales and features new ways for them to organize their orders. The plan is to have all 112 Girl Scout councils use e-commerce platforms by 2017. Now here we have Stephen Jones with the latest in sports news.
Thank you, Lisa. The Dallas Cowboys defeated the Washington Redskins 19-16 in last night's game. Two teams combined for just 18 points through the first 58 minutes of the game, but combined for 17 in the final 2 minutes. The scoring frenzy began when Washington Redskins punt returner Deshaun Jackson fielded a punt from his own 15 and ran back to his own 5 while trying to avoid tacklers. Jackson fumbled the ball and the Cowboys recovered. The Cowboys used the fumble to set up a touchdown with under 2 minutes. On the ensuing kickoff, poor coverage by the Cowboys and a face mask penalty on the play gave the Redskins favorable field position. The Redskins scored with 44 seconds left on Jackson's 28-yard touchdown reception, tying the game at 16. The Cowboys used a long kick return and a couple of quick plays to set up kicker Dan Bailey's 54-yard game-winning field goal. Last night's win keeps the Cowboys' faint playoff hopes alive. Former USC head football coach Steve Sarkisian is suing the school for wrongful termination. Sarkisian says the school kicked him to the curb and fired him without accommodating him while he sought treatment. He is seeking $30 million from the lawsuit. Sarkisian was fired via email back in October after he admitted himself into rehab for a drinking problem. A lawyer for USC says Sarkisian mischaracterized the facts and that the school will defend these claims. Now let's go to Lisa with the entertainment news.
It's official. Kim and Kanye have a saint. No word on a middle name, but the couple had to name the baby before leaving the hospital. Baby news is all over social media, and for weeks, fans have been tweeting ideas for names for the new son of reality star Kim Kardashian and her rapper husband, Kanye West. The newborn baby clocked in at 8 pounds, 1 ounces. The couple announced the birth of Saint West yesterday, which means their daughter North now has a sibling. The newborn was due on Christmas, but because of health issues, arrived a bit early. Young hitmakers in pop, rap, and R&B dominate Grammy nominations for 2016. Kendrick Lamar, Taylor Swift, and The Weeknd are the top contenders for the 58th annual Grammy Awards. Kendrick, whose album To Pimp a Butterfly was one of the year's most popular and critically adored releases. He received 11 Grammy nominations. Swift was nominated 7 times for 1989. That album, which cemented her role in pop culture, is up for Album of the Year and Best Pop Vocal Album. The Weeknd scored nominations in both pop and R&B genre categories, including Best Pop Solo Performance for Can't Feel My Face and Best R&B Performance for Earned It from the 50 Shades of Grey soundtrack. Grammys will be held in Los Angeles on February 15th and broadcasted by CBS. Now let's go to Stephen with more on health news.
Thank you, Lisa. Geological researchers in Central California have found uranium levels exceeding federal and state safety standards. Authorities are reportedly doing little to inform the public of the dangerous uranium levels in drinking water. The eastern side of the San Joaquin Valley is raising the greatest concern. In the 250-mile stretch of farmland, there are as many as 1 in 10 public water systems with raw drinking water. Long-term exposure to uranium can damage the kidneys and increase cancer risks. Schools and communities near Modesto have installed uranium and removed facilities and opted to buying bottled water instead. Is your dog sleeping on your bed? That may actually be a good thing. The Mayo Sleep Clinic says that sleeping with pets can make people feel more relaxed and secure. The study found that a number of people reported sleeping better with their pet next to them. For many people, a snoring and fidgeting pet can be a recipe for a sleepless night. 20% of people did complain about their animals disturbing their sleep by wandering and whimpering. The majority of people say having their pets sleep with them has advantages. However, pet owners view their animals as companions and do their best to include them in their lives as much as possible. So if you want a good night's sleep, let your four-legged best friend join you. Speaking of four-legged best friends, a 2-month-old German Shepherd puppy called Dobrynya has been handed to the French ambassador in Moscow. Dobrynya is replacing 7-year-old Belgian Shepherd Diesel, who was killed during the Paris terror attacks. The Russians are doing this as a way to show solidarity. Dobrynya is named after a medieval Russian knight for his strength, chivalry, and courage. The puppy will travel to France next month when the quarantine process will be completed. There will also be a welcome ceremony in Paris. That's all for health news. Now back to Anna with more news.
Thank you, Stephen. A family in Ohio is asking for donations to keep their nativity scene that features undead characters in the town for the holidays. For the second year in a row, the Dixons constructed a nativity scene with zombie-like figures. The family runs a risk of a $500 fine every day the scene is left up. According to Sycamore Township officials, the front yard display is against the zoning code. Last year, the couple was forced to remove their artwork for not requesting a permit, but this year they have resorted to raising money online to offset all legal fees after their permit request was denied. Religious groups have voiced their objections, saying God frowns upon the scene and that baby Jesus is not a zombie.
Students at CSUN are trying to beat the heat and keep cool today. Today's high will be 83 degrees with sunny skies and light winds, but there is a cool down expected for the rest of this week. Tomorrow's high will be 80 degrees with partly cloudy skies. The rest of this week will feature highs in the mid to low 60s with partly cloudy skies. The National Weather Institute is also issuing a high surf advisory for Southern California beaches due to dangerous rip currents.
Thank you for watching Matador News. I'm Anna Logan.
I'm Daisy Lightfoot.
I'm Lisa Choe.
And I'm Stephen Jones. Good luck on finals, everyone.